My name is Daniel. This is the story of my first love in school. It was a simple love, quiet, innocent, but it stayed with me forever. I was 15 years old. I was in high school. Life felt easy back then. School, friends, homework, dreams about the future. I never thought about love, not seriously. I didn't know that love can appear on an ordinary day and change everything. That morning started like any other. My alarm rang too early. I didn't want to get up. My mom knocked on the door and said, "Daniel, you'll miss the bus." I got dressed quickly, grabbed my backpack, and ran outside. The school bus was loud. Students were talking, laughing, scrolling on their phones. I sat by the window and looked at the road. I didn't know this day would become unforgettable. When I walked into my classroom, there was a strange feeling in the air. People were whispering, "There's a new student today. She just moved here." I didn't care much. New students came and went. Then the teacher walked in, and behind her was a girl I had never seen before. Her name was Emily. She looked nervous, but calm at the same time. The teacher said, "Class, please welcome Emily." Everyone clapped. I didn't. I just looked at her. My heart started beating faster. I didn't understand why. Emily looked around the room for an empty seat. There was only one left, the seat next to me. She walked over and sat down quietly. She smiled and said, "Hi." I wanted to answer, but my voice didn't come out. I just said, "Hi." That was it. But somehow, that one word felt important. The class started. The teacher was talking, but I didn't hear anything. I noticed how Emily wrote carefully, how she listened closely, how she smiled softly. She leaned toward me and whispered, "Which page are we on?" I pointed to the page. Our hands touched, just for a second, but my heart felt like it stopped. At lunch, students rushed outside. I usually sat with my friends. That day, I stayed in my seat. Emily opened her lunch bag and looked at me. "Do you want some?" she asked. I was surprised. "Sure," I said. She gave me an apple slice. I don't know why, but it tasted better than anything else. She laughed when I thanked her. Her laugh stayed in my head all day. Days passed. We talked more about classes, teachers, movies, music. She helped me with English essays. I helped her with math. Slowly, she became the reason I liked going to school. One night, I was lying in bed. I thought about her smile, her voice, the way she said my name, and I realized something. I cared, more than I should. This wasn't just friendship. This was my first love. But I was scared. What if she didn't feel the same? What if I ruined everything? So I said nothing. I kept my feelings inside. I loved her, quietly. This was only the beginning. There would be happy moments. There would be misunderstandings. And there would be heartbreak. But that comes later. After that day, Emily became a part of my life. Not in a big way, not in an obvious way, but in small moments. A smile in class, a short conversation in the hallway, a quiet laugh during lunch. Those small moments meant everything to me. Every morning I looked for Emily as soon as I entered the classroom. If she was there, my day felt good. If she was absent, something felt wrong.
We walked to class together. We sat next to each other. We shared notes and jokes. To everyone else, we were just friends. But to me, she was much more. One afternoon, during history class, Emily passed me a small piece of paper. My heart started racing. I opened it slowly. It said, "Do you understand this lesson? I'm really confused." I smiled. I wrote back, "I'll explain it after class." She looked at me and smiled. That smile stayed with me long after the bell rang. A few days later, something changed. A boy named Ryan started sitting near Emily. He was tall, confident, always joking. He made her laugh. I noticed it immediately. During group work, Emily talked to him more. At lunch, she sometimes sat with him. I told myself, she's just being friendly. But my heart didn't listen. I had never felt jealousy before. It was uncomfortable. It made my chest feel tight. When I saw Emily laugh with Ryan, I felt invisible. I didn't say anything. I just watched and worried. One afternoon, Emily walked home with Ryan. I watched them from behind. They looked happy. I walked home alone. The sky was gray. The road felt longer. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking, what if she likes him? What if I'm too late? I wanted to tell her how I felt. I wrote a message on my phone. "I like you." I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted it. I wasn't brave enough. Over the next few weeks, Emily and I talked less. Not because she wanted to, but because I pulled away. I was afraid of being hurt. When she asked, "Are you okay?" I said, "I'm fine." But I wasn't. Loving someone in silence is painful. You want to speak. You want to be honest, but fear keeps you quiet. I smiled on the outside. I hurt on the inside. One night, I sat by my window. I looked at the stars. I realized something. If I never spoke, I would never know. And that might hurt more than rejection. The school announced a spring festival. There would be music, games, and food stands. Everyone was excited. I was nervous. I knew Emily would be there. The schoolyard looked different. Colorful decorations, students laughing, teachers smiling. I walked around slowly. Then I saw her. Emily was standing near the stage, talking to friends. She was wearing a light blue dress. She looked beautiful. My heart started beating fast. I stayed far away. I watched her laugh. I watched her enjoy the festival. Ryan was there too. They talked. They laughed. I felt that familiar pain again. Later, Emily saw me. She walked over and said, "Hey, Daniel, you've been really quiet lately. Is everything okay?" I wanted to lie, but I didn't. I said, "I'm just thinking a lot." She looked at me carefully. "You can talk to me," she said softly. Those words gave me courage. I asked, "Do you want to walk for a bit?" She nodded. We walked away from the music to a quiet corner of the schoolyard. The noise faded. My heart was loud. I stopped walking. I took a deep breath. "Emily," I said, "there's something I need to tell you." She waited. "I like you," I said slowly. My hands were shaking. I looked down, afraid to see her reaction. For a moment, she didn't say anything. The silence felt heavy. I thought, this is it. I've ruined everything. Then she spoke. "Daniel, I care about you. You're very important to me." My heart lifted for a second. Then she continued, "But I don't feel the same, not in that way." The words were kind, but they still hurt. I forced a smile. "I understand," I said. She touched my arm gently. "I hope we can still be friends," she said. I nodded, but inside, my heart was breaking. After the festival, I walked home alone. The streetlights were on. The night was quiet. I replayed the moment again and again in my head. I didn't cry. Not yet.
That night, I realized something important. Courage does not always bring happiness. Sometimes it brings truth, and truth can hurt. After the spring festival, school felt different. Not on the outside, but inside me. The same hallways, the same classrooms, but my heart was heavier. On Monday morning, I saw Emily in class. She smiled and said, "Good morning." I smiled back, but it was not the same. I tried to act normal. I tried to focus on my books, but my mind kept going back to that moment at the festival. We still sat next to each other, but we talked less. Not because she was unkind, but because I was careful. Every word felt dangerous. I didn't want my feelings to show again. Small things hurt the most. When she laughed with someone else, when she talked about her weekend, when she seemed happy without me. I told myself, this is how it has to be. But my heart argued back. I spent more time alone. I sat quietly at lunch. I walked home by myself. Friends asked, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." But I wasn't. One afternoon, it started raining after school. Students rushed to the buses. I stood under a tree, watching the rain fall. Emily walked past me. She stopped. "Daniel," she said, "I hope you're not mad at me." I looked at her. "I'm not mad," I said. "I just need time." She nodded. "I understand." Days passed. The pain didn't disappear, but it became quieter. I started focusing on myself, my studies, my hobbies, my future. I realized that my life was bigger than one moment of heartbreak. I learned something important. First love doesn't always last, but it teaches you how deeply you can feel. It teaches you about honesty, courage, and loss. One morning, I woke up and noticed something. Thinking of Emily didn't hurt as much. I smiled, just a little. That's when I knew I was healing. One day after class, Emily said, "You're doing better, right?" I nodded. "Yes," I said, "I really am." She smiled, and this time, my heart didn't break. Time has a quiet way of changing things. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and slowly the pain becomes a memory. School continued. Classes, exams, group projects. Emily and I became comfortable again. Not close, not distant, just normal, and that was okay. As the year ended, we started thinking about the future. Different dreams, different paths. I realized something important. First love is not always meant to stay. Sometimes it is meant to teach. My first love taught me it is okay to feel deeply. It is okay to be vulnerable. It is okay to be honest, even if the answer is not what you hope for. Heartbreak did not break me. It made me stronger. I learned to respect others' feelings. I learned to respect my own. I learned that rejection is not failure. It is part of growing. I became more confident. I spoke more. I smiled more. I wasn't afraid of feelings anymore. I understood that love is brave.
Years later, when I think about school, I think about Emily, not with sadness, but with gratitude. She was my first love, and she helped shape who I am today. If you are listening to this story, this message is for you. If your heart is hurting, it will not hurt forever. If your first love didn't work out, it doesn't mean your story is over. It means your journey has begun. First love is special, not because it lasts forever, but because it shows you that you can love, and that is something you never forget. Thank you for listening. If this story touched your heart, please like the video. Subscribe for more English listening stories, and remember, every love teaches a lesson. Every lesson makes you stronger.